We're going to move on to 4-36 using a scientific calculator. So please finish the 4-35 discussion first. And please finish the Trig Table Toolkit. When you have finished those, please have a text book, please have a calculator, and go ahead and draw the triangle, the right triangle that you're given in exercise 4-36. And you're asked to examine that triangle. So start by drawing it. What is the slope ratio for 32 degrees? Explain how you would decide to set up the ratio. So rather than drawing the triangle reoriented, we could just draw the line that contains the hypotenuse of the triangle and identify the slope angle, which in this case is 32. The slope ratio would be the distance of the side opposite, which would indicate the change in y, divided by the distance of the side next to the 32-degree angle, which would be the change in x, where change in y divided by change in x equals 5/8. So we need to get used to looking across from the angle at the distance of the leg and looking next to the angle, or what we call adjacent. Across we will refer to as opposite. So really, to identify a slope ratio when a triangle is not oriented on the xy axis, we first identify the line containing the hypotenuse, we then identify the slope angle, we then identify change in y by change in x, and we set up a ratio. So what is the slope ratio for this 58-degree angle? Well, we've got a slope ratio of 5/8. And we know that because the side with length 8 is opposite. Oh, sorry, that's for the 32-degree angle. So in B, let's read this really carefully. What is the slope ratio for a 58-degree angle? So using opposite and adjacent, or using the idea that if complementary angles are in a right triangle, their slope ratios are reciprocals, we can say for 58 degrees, the opposite leg or the measure of the opposite leg equals 8. That would be our change in y for 58. So either of the acute angles in the right triangle can be considered. And adjacent to the 58 is 5. Now this would be change in x for the 58-degree angle. So change in y over change in x for 32 degrees is 5 over 8. Change in y over change in x for 58 degrees is 8 over 5. Now you have a calculator next to you that has a button with the letters TAN. Take a look at 4-36C. Scientific calculators have a button that will give the slope ratio when the slope angle is entered. We calculated the slope ratio for 32 degrees as 0.625. So check that out. Is 5 divided by 8 625 thousandths? Push those buttons. What do you get when you enter tangent of 32? So you're pushing the tangent button followed by the 3, the 2, and the closed parentheses. Is this an approximation for 0.6250? Take a look. Find this button, and up pops this prompt. Enter 3, enter 2, close the parentheses, press enter, and 0.6249 is the result. So your calculator is programmed with a very large table of tangent ratios, larger than the trig table toolkit you have created. So how about 8/5? Push the buttons to find out what that is. 1.6. Well, is this tangent of 58? Well, is the slope ratio for a 58-degree angle the same as the tangent of a 58-degree angle? I get 1.6003 when I press tangent of 58. So yes, they in fact are the same thing. So your calculator will find the tangent ratio for any degree measure you enter. Now, take a look in D. They have bolded the letters in the word tangent ratio to indicate that we will now be using this term for slope ratio. So it is interchangeable with slope ratio, but it allows you to consider the ratio for opposite over adjacent without having to reorient the triangle. When you want to find the slope ratio of an angle, such as 32 degrees, it is written this way, tangent 32 degrees. An equation for this triangle can be written this way, tangent 32 degrees equals 5 over 8. And we will start writing equations this way. So let's take a look at 4-37 and go ahead and draw the first triangle. check that it's a right triangle. We won't want to use right triangle strategies for obtuse or acute triangles, only for right triangles. Go ahead and finish the measures of this triangle. What is the complement of 38? And we're just asked to write an equation that matches the picture. So 38 degrees in A is our reference triangle. That's the one that was given. So help yourself to visualize what is across from 38. There's my change in Y. And visualize also what is adjacent to 38. There's my change in X. And the equation I can write is tangent of 38 degrees equals change in Y over change in X, which is the measure of the leg opposite divided by the measure of the leg adjacent, which gives me X over 8. So in order to solve for X, and here's where the formatting comes in, with an equation like this, tangent of 38 degrees equals X over 8, we're going to use a fraction buster technique to multiply both sides of the equation by 8. Tangent of 38 is just a number. This is a number. Your calculator knows this number. This denominator was reduced to 1. So X is given as 8 times the tangent of 38. This is entered into the calculator as is. 8 times the tangent of 38 is approximately 6.25. I'm dropping the 0.03 in the thousands and 10,000s place, so I'm being careful to use the approximate symbol, 6.25. Draw the triangle in B. I have a 73-degree angle with X right next to it, 9 across from it. So far for the tangent, we are not considering the hypotenuse. We really just need to compare the two legs in an opposite adjacent order. So 9 is my change in Y. Adjacent to 73 is X. There's my change in X. For this example, 9 over X is the tangent of 73. So here's a case where I have to multiply by a variable, which results in 9 equals tangent of 73 multiplied by X. And now this tangent of 73 is a number that my calculator recognizes, and I can divide both sides by this value. So show that the same way you would if that were any other number. So this reduces to 1. X equals 9 divided by tangent of 73. Your calculator does that arithmetic as easily as it does 8 times tangent of 38. So press the buttons for 9 divided by tangent of 73. Please don't spend a lot of time doing this homework without a calculator. Get your calculator out for this homework. Push these buttons for yourself. It is approximately 2.75. This is where you'll find out if your calculator is getting the same answers. What if you pushed the buttons I'm asking you to push, and instead of getting 2.75, you got 9.79? Well, that simply means that you're in the wrong mode. So you need to do a little reprogramming. It's easy to do. So you want to press your mode button